right, Brian, we're at it again. Where are we?
Here we are. We're out in Pasadena at the Norton House from 1954 that was designed by the architects Buff, Straub, and Hensman, which I think is an important distinction. Buff and Hensman as a firm existed for quite some time, but when Straub was involved, they did this really elegant, slender post and beam mid-century modern architecture.
Yeah, you often talk about the differences between some of the work that they started doing later on, and you gravitate more towards this style, right?
Yeah, I love the expression of the structure and the simple wood posts and beams and the 2x decking that allows for this slender fascia. It's just, we've talked about those drafting lines in architectural drafting where, you know, things continue beyond.
Right.
And I feel like that's the essence of this architecture.
Yeah, I mean, I think just here, it almost gives you some like Neutra-esque type moves here, although Neutra's spider legs would actually extend past the roof. But this one does kind of have this like grabbing of that, you know, hallway space there, the exterior space there.
That's true. Those do read like spider legs, the horizontal beam coming down to the slender post. Right now I'm looking at this beautiful stream that meanders through the property. There are a couple of ducks there under the waterfall. And we've got that soothing sound of running water in the background. And, you know, the Japanese influence on modernism comes to mind, hearing that sound and seeing this architecture. There are even some references to shoji screen in the interior design work.
Yeah, and being out here with these bridges and sinks, a lot of the ornamentation on the bridge-like work, that's just, you know, all of these small details matter so much.
Well, you want to take them inside?
Let's take them
Let's
inside.
go up the bridge and go in through the front door.
Let's go. So some of the differences are like in the 70s, their work got a little clunkier.
Which is such a funny story because their original post and beam stuff is so elegant. And I guess somebody asked them, why did you switch to that more Southwest themed, kind of heavier, soffitted architecture? I thought it had to do with structural constraints and Title 24 energy codes. And they said, no, it was just sheer boredom. You know, they got tired of doing this post and beam
Sheer
stuff.
boredom.
Yeah. So this is really an original composition. You know, we see this in the Sunset Magazine photos from 1958 with the slender posts and beams, this 2x decking that forms the roof and ceiling, and this fireplace and chimney situation, which has original mosaic art tile built in.
I always love the way that the structure always helps proportion and define the spaces. So at that front end there, they've got just enough for a table. And then there's this rhythm that goes through it. And you can see the skylights are positioned in the center of each one of these bays, which is a really nice composition.
And this is the kind of house that was built in the 50s by a team of, you know, 2 or 3 people could build this house in 4 months. I mean, that was sort of what they did back in the day because it was very easy to just set up these posts, beams, decking, roof, walls. The glass is just floor to ceiling, single pane glass with minimal stops. You know, there's not a lot to it. Where today, this house would have to be structural steel and you'd have dual glazing and energy requirements. You know, this sort of, the amount of glass in this house has been kind of legislated out of existence in current building codes.
What I was just going to say, referring to that glass, is you always have visual connection to the exterior. You could still hear that stream of water going down. It just connects you with nature.
And then there's some of these kinds of moves where the masonry of the fireplace surround is held down below these beams by 3 or 4 inches. And so that allows your eye to go up and over and the light to come through the clear story windows and into this space, where if that had continued up, this would have been a much darker space.
And I love when you talk about the orientation of the bricks on the chimney, because there's a couple things going on here. What do you call it?
Well, this is like a running bond. Is that
Running
what
bond.
you're seeing?
That's
It's
what I
not
was
a
thinking.
stacked
It's
bond.
not a stacked bond,
Yeah.
running bond, and then he's got these little ornament down at the bottom there. Yeah.
Yep, and then that mosaic tile.
Coming out there outside, you can actually see the. I call them Spidey legs because my kids watch. It's not no longer Spider-Man anymore. It's Spidey.
Spidey. Yeah, I do love that. The way this L-shaped structural form, and these continue down to the lower level. But such simple, straightforward architecture, you really feel the rhythm of the structure, the clear stories.
Yeah, that structure really runs from the beginning all the way through the house, doesn't it?
Yep.
I always love seeing the beams going from interior to exterior as they continue. It just gives it this continuity.
One of my favorite details is this atrium in the Jack and Jill bathroom. This is an exterior space that sort of makes this bathroom feel twice as big as it actually is, because your eye goes out to the screen with the lattice of vertical and horizontal elements beyond.
Yeah, they keep this composition throughout with the railings and with the screen wall here. It makes it feel cohesive.
Yep. And the way this wall continues from the inside to the outside, it just takes your eye right out to nature. One thing I love is that they've done some pretty tasteful renovation here that's compatible with the original. And I love this original 1950s mosaic tile motif in the backsplash behind the stove. And I think this was done by the same artist that did the tile work on the hearth of the fireplace. Not sure if it was done in 55. When we look at those black and white images from 58 from Sunset Magazine, it doesn't look like they're in there, but it looks like it was done by the original owner in the mid-century, probably maybe the early 60s.
And then just to reiterate, again, the kitchen doesn't go all the way to the ceiling. It leaves some room off the top, again, that same data point that we could see throughout the house. And in this particular case, you've got a clear story up above, so again, allowing more light into the space.
True, and so that was thoughtful on the part of the renovation designers. You know, whoever did this kept the language of the original design, because that makes a big difference. That makes this room seem like it's, you know, the room ends where the spider legs end out at the face of the deck, compared to, you know, if it had ended right here.
Yeah, and if you look over here, I don't know why, but you really don't need that sheet of glass because it's still indoors. But it might
True.
be just, again, to keep with the language,
Yep.
same language. And to end off, Brian, this one is for sale, right?
This one is for sale. If I were more clever, I'd be able to tell you the data. Maybe we should get the data and start that one over.
No, I think what we'll do is we'll put it in the caption.
Okay.
We'll have all
That sounds good. It's under $3 million. I think it's like 2.7. So it starts to feel like a bargain, because you don't really get architecture of this caliber for under $3 million.
Yeah.
I think it'll go pretty much instantly in multiple offers over the list price.